Out in the big, dark quiet, where space is supposed to be silent, something suddenly shouted. It wasn't a sound you could hear with your ears, but a message, a blast of energy so strong and so clear, it made no sense. For 72 seconds, it was there, and then, just as quickly, it was gone. The shout was not just a quick hello. It lasted for a full minute and 12 seconds. It grew louder, reached a perfect peak, and then faded away, just as you would expect if something was passing by. It was a perfect arc, a perfect performance in the empty theater of space. The thing that heard it wasn't a normal telescope. It was a giant, strange machine called the Big Ear. It didn't look like a telescope at all. It looked like a huge metal fence lying on the ground as big as 3 football fields put together. And the strangest part? The Big Ear couldn't move. It couldn't turn or point. It was stuck to the ground. It had to wait for the whole Earth to spin around, using our own world like a giant turning knob to sweep across the stars. Imagine a giant metal ear just lying in a field, listening. It wasn't looking for bright, shiny stars. It was listening for the quietest whispers from the dark, waiting for the sky to drift over it, one tiny piece at a time. This giant, still machine was built for one job: to listen for something that wasn't supposed to be there. And one night, as the Earth slowly turned, it heard something that should not have been possible. The Big Ear was listening to a very special, very quiet spot on the radio. Think of it like a secret channel, a place where all the normal noise of space goes away. Scientists call it the water hole, a quiet place to get a drink in a noisy room. They picked this spot for a reason. It's the frequency where hydrogen, the stuff that makes up almost everything, sends out a tiny, natural hum. If someone out there wanted to send a message, they might choose this cosmic campfire, a place where everyone in the universe could gather and listen. But this signal wasn't a tiny hum. It was 30 times stronger than the normal background whisper of space. It was so loud, so out of place, that the person who found it on the computer paper just wrote one word next to it: wow. And it wasn't messy, like the noise from a star. Stars and galaxies are loud all over the radio, like a big crowd of people all talking at once. This signal was a single, pure note, a perfect whistle in the middle of a noisy storm. And that is something nature just doesn't seem to do. The people who heard the shout got very excited. They pointed their big metal ear right back to that same little spot in the sky, in a place filled with stars they called Sagittarius. They were sure they would hear it again. They listened for hours, then days, then for many, many months. They aimed other, even bigger ears at that spot, but there was nothing, only the quiet hum of empty space. The loud whisper had vanished as quickly as it came. So they started to wonder. Maybe the sound didn't come from deep space at all. Could it have been something from here, on our own world? A secret army plane, or a signal bouncing off a tiny satellite we didn't know about? But that didn't make sense. The whisper was on a special, protected radio spot. It's like a secret phone line that everyone on Earth agreed never to use. It's a quiet channel, saved just for listening to the stars. Nobody was supposed to be talking there. What about a natural thing, out in the cosmos? Some stars spin very fast, sending out little beeps of light and energy. But those stars beep over and over, like a clock. The big whisper happened only once. It never repeated. Other things in space, like giant burning clouds, are very loud. But their noise is messy, like a whole room of people shouting at once. The wow signal was not messy. It was a single, pure note, clean and clear, on that one quiet spot on the dial. And then there was the biggest clue of all: the number 72. The whisper lasted for 72 seconds. That number is very important. It was the exact amount of time the telescope's ear could listen to one spot in the sky before our world, the Earth, turned away. This means the signal probably didn't stop at 72 seconds. It was likely still going. We just turned our back on it. The Earth itself moved our telescope away from the voice. It might still be whispering out there, right now. But here is where the story gets truly strange, a little unsettling. The big telescope actually had two ears, not one. They were called horns. One horn would listen to a spot in the sky, and then, just about 3 minutes later, the second horn would listen to that very same spot. Any real signal from deep space should have been heard by both. First, a shout in the first ear. Imagine you are spinning slowly in a chair. A friend is whispering from across the room. You only hear them clearly for a moment as your ear sweeps past. The signal did just that. It grew louder, then softer, perfectly matching our planet's steady turn. This was the clue that broke the case. A toy car zipping past your ear is a quick vroom, not a long, slow whisper. Anything from our own sky would have been a zip. This meant the source wasn't moving. It was standing still, deep in the dark, as we spun by. Then, 3 minutes of silence. Then, the same shout in the second ear. But that's not what happened. The wow signal was only heard by the first horn. When the second one listened, there was nothing. It was gone. So what if the signal was exactly what it looked like? What if it was a shout, on purpose, from somewhere very, very far away? This is the most amazing idea of all. For years, smart people had thought about what a message from another world might look like. They said it would be powerful, it would be clear, and it would be on that special, quiet, cosmic campfire spot on the radio. The wow signal did all of those things. It was a perfect match. But then, many years later, a much simpler idea came along. Some scientists said 2 comets, which no one had even found back in 1977, might have been flying through that part of the sky. As these icy comets got closer to the sun, they would have warmed up and let out a giant, invisible cloud of gas. The same kind of gas that makes up most of the universe. They believe our telescope might have just accidentally listened to that cloud of gas for 72 seconds. But there are big problems with this simple idea. First, no one knows for sure if those comets were in the perfect spot at the perfect time. It's just a guess. And the biggest problem is this. A gas cloud from a comet is big and messy. It should have made a wide, fuzzy sound. But the wow signal was sharp and focused. It got loud, then it got quiet, just like something small and far away passing by. The comet idea just doesn't feel right. And so, the signal has become a kind of ghost in the machine, a whisper that was heard only once, and then never again. For decades, we have pointed our telescopes back to that same patch of sky, listening. All we have ever heard is silence. The signal is a story with a missing last page. It makes us feel very small, and it makes us wonder what else is hiding in the great, quiet dark. In the end, maybe the real beauty is not knowing the answer. The wow signal is a perfect puzzle from space. It's a 72-second secret that the universe told us once. And it reminds us to keep our ears open, to keep looking up, and to always find wonder in the things we do not understand. The signal wasn't just a whisper, it was a cosmic shout. For those 72 seconds, it was many, many times louder than all the background noise of space. It was like a huge lighthouse suddenly turning its beam right on us, cutting through the dark, silent ocean of the universe. The strange name for the signal, the part that says 6EQUJ5, was just how the old computer printed things. It used numbers to show how loud a sound was. But this sound was so loud, it ran out of numbers. So the computer started using letters. The letter U is very, very far down the alphabet, which means the signal was incredibly strong. And then, after that one loud shout, there was only silence. The telescope kept listening to that exact spot in the sky, day after day, year after year. But the voice never spoke again. It was as if someone yelled a single, shocking word across a huge, quiet field and then disappeared without a trace. So, everyone started looking. They pointed bigger, better telescopes at that patch of sky. They searched for any star, any planet, anything at all that could be the home of this mysterious voice. It was like trying to find a single, specific grain of sand on all the beaches in the world. But they found a very strange problem. The part of the sky the signal came from is empty. There are no big, obvious stars or solar systems there that would be likely to send a message. The shout came from a direction where there doesn't seem to be anyone home. This makes some people think it was just a cosmic accident, a 1 in a trillion chance, like a lightning bolt in space that just happened to look like a message. A single, loud event that was never meant to happen again and never will. But there's another, more unsettling idea. What if it wasn't an accident? What if it was sent by something moving very fast, sweeping by our corner of space? A quick hello as it passed by, never to return. A message that was only meant to be heard once. Imagine being the person who found it, a scientist named Jerry Ehman looking through endless pages of printed numbers from the telescope. Just noise, noise, noise. And then he saw a pattern that made no sense. A message from the deep, so strange he could only circle it in red pen and write one word. Wow! That one moment changed how we see the dark. It left us with the feeling that we are not just looking out into an empty room. It felt for just a moment like we overheard a secret not meant for us. A whisper that proves the room isn't empty at all. Today, we have much better tools. New telescopes, far more powerful than the big ear, have listened to that same spot. They are straining to hear that ghost again. They are hoping to catch the echo of that one amazing shout. But so far, the universe has decided to keep its secrets.